Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games, and welcome to what is hopefully the last one of these videos where I actually touch the code for this here tower defense game. So, today we are going to be making some final touches, implementing some feedback that I got from my sister, and generally making this game ready to ship. Some changes I've gone and made on my own time, as I said I would. A bunch of changes after I stopped recording. Both to things like balance and to things like bugs in the game, errors in the game, and fine-tuning the collision area that I painted on the ground. I made a couple other miscellaneous changes that don't have to do with bugs, that just have to do with like game feel. Let's see, this one in particular was correcting some erroneous behavior when you game over. As well as, I replaced all of the D3D GameMaker model files with just vertex buffers, raw vertex buffers that can be loaded in one shot. That should speed up loading slightly. They are slightly smaller than the GameMaker model files, and they should, in theory, load faster. I mean, take up less space on the disk. I already said they would load faster because you don't have to process plain text. But the difference probably won't be huge. I just think it feels better to have things like this. What else? Torches now emit real fire. That's probably the big one. So if I were to... I spent a lot of time over the course of the last 61 videos complaining about the way that the torch towers look. I have finally gone and replaced that with an actual, like, particle emitter. So these are now, instead of the, like, the brown rectangles that just have a bunch of really ugly red balls sitting in the middle of them, these now emit actual, like, fire particles, so that's nice. I've also gone and updated the designs of a few things. I think the main ones were the flypaper, which now looks less like a traffic cone and looks actually like something that like has paper with like bugs stuck in it or something like that. And if I were to pick up a little bit more money, I could send in bug spray. And I've made this a little fancier as well. It's still a cylinder, but it now looks like it has like a label. Did not attempt to like art a logo into that or anything because it would have come out terribly, but it's got like a little nozzle at the top, and you will also notice that it turns to face things as it sprays. It turns to face the direction that it sprays, so that's fun. Let's see. First things that I'd like to do, and if I were to come over to this bug board, I started doing this and then realized I wasn't recording and had to backtrack real quick. Make a logo that isn't text on a magenta square. I did that on my own time as well. There was a part of me that wanted the... Oh, perfect. It didn't get undone. There's a part of me that wanted to design this, like, on recording, but I also knew that it was likely to just involve a lot of me screwing around with, like, text placement until I got something that I liked, so I didn't really want to have that. So instead, Bombadil, a tower defense game about wrecking bugs. This font is the QA reports font that I've been using on a lot of my thumbnails for the last 2-ish years. Made by Allison James, who is fairly notorious in the GameMaker community for being fairly productive, both in terms of creating fonts and creating games. And let's see, if I were to auto-trim all frames, that would just get rid of some of the white space around it. It doesn't matter, because when it gets written onto the texture page, it'll get cropped anyway. So I can save this. And if I were to look at the rm_test in the game room, I believe the title screen is this object here. Let me clear the cache just in case any like loading a new title screen screws up the texture page baking. And let me just see how this looks. I suspect I'll want to move this a little bit more into the corner now because it is a slightly bigger image. And we're going to take a minute to compile the audio and the shaders, and yeah, this is a little bit weirdly in the center of the screen. Let me move this over to, I think... Would that be too far in the corner? Actually, that's pretty good. Okay, I'm going to go with that. Let's see, let us make ourselves a commit. New title screen. If you want to look through the commit history to see all the changes that I made since the last video, feel free. I did deal with the issue on the Raspberry Pi. It turns out that the OpenGL export targets do not require textures to be a power of 2 in size the way Windows does. And as a result, when I was assuming that the surface that, God, that the collision zone was painted on was automatically like a power of 2 in size. It wasn't on the Raspberry Pi, and that was causing all sorts of fun alignment issues. So that's like the opposite of some of the other problems that I had earlier, doing the same thing on Windows. Let's see. So I do need to, and you can see I've checked these off too because I started doing that before I realized I wasn't recording. Add my sister to the credits and add the audio music guy to the credits. He has informed me that he was fairly tied down with other clients for music work over the last couple of weeks, and he didn't get to start doing Bombardier stuff until I think last week. And it's likely that that won't be done by the time I want to have this game out the door, which is basically the end of the year. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just either have temporary music or see if I can use a rough draft of one of the things that he's working on for this and just ship the game with that and then update in the rest of the music later. Or something along those lines. We'll see. If I was thinking ahead, I would have had this squared away in like July, so that this is just not a problem right now, but I put this off until I think October, and that's kind of my problem. So first, adding my sister to the credits, I can bring up the credits screen, which is going to be this. No, that's the level select. That's going to be this. I'm going to need to make some more space. And let's see. Can I do this? Did I just like... Oh, okay. I was going to say, why did the title object disappear? Let's move... I keep selecting the wrong layer. Let's move this up one space on the grid. Hide the level select. Let's also extend it down because I'm going to need the space for another row of buttons. Like that. Let's move the back button down. Let's move the Patreon wall down, which I will also need to update, by the way. Let me make a couple copies of this. So that's going to be for Ryan. I believe, is this, which credits are these? This is S part. That's going to be, for the particle system by Snyder. Music is by Ryan, and, I'm going to also have the button linked to his Twitter account instead of the Game Maker forum page for S part. So that's going to be the one. This one down here, I will actually. You know what? Hang on. I'm going to make. As far as I know, my sister is not active on any social media, so I don't have any URLs that I can plug there. But I will add a THANKS to. I will just add a line here, a text label, and this what was the one that I just deleted? Okay, this one here. I'm going to make my name linked to the YouTube playlist. Okay, that is not my name. Copy, paste, get. It's literally not letting me. Whatever. In the time that I spent trying to do that. I could have just written it out because I don't even know what I was thinking. It wasn't a long line. It's like just my name and the thing that I say at the beginning of these videos. Okay, that's fine. All right. Let's see. I do want to update the Patreon wall. I'm going to, as I was saying, lock in the names after this video because this is the last video in which I'm touching the code. If anybody pledges between this point and when the rest of the series goes up, sorry, I will have your name in future Let's Make a Game series. Let's see. Okay, so these names are in the defined in the creation code in the get text because I do not feel like trying to fit this all into that little variable definitions window. And Okay, so the new names are Gunnar Clovis, which is going to be Jilly Gizmo. Gunnar Clovis. Squarecrow, SNST. And Squarecrow has an O instead of a 0 instead of an O. And the very cheerfully named Death. Okay, and let's see. Just going to align these so that they all fit in the box. This should be good. Thank you all, and this should fit in the box without overflowing, right? Perfect. Okay. So I can say updated credits. Let's see. Those two items are done. Update readme.md on the repository because apparently I haven't done that in a long while. Yeah, this is like a year out of date. I'm gonna do that when I build an executable. Feedback from the sister. So she is still away at school, but I did send her an executable to play remotely, and she did make a few observations for me. One, add a control screen because most of the game is playable by the mouse, but it's like not inherently obvious what actions do what. Add a pause button on the game UI. That's something I wanted to do and just forgot. Add a label to the pause menu that says what the name/number of the current level is. That's a good idea. If someone plays like 3 levels and then turns it off and then comes back to it later, how do you know what the last level that you played was? Ideally, and I did say I do this too, I want to have a save system so that you unlock levels as you beat prior ones, but we'll get to that after this. So for example, if I were to go into level 5 to Flower Fields, I should be able to when I pause the game. Instead of saying pause game here, it should probably say level 5 to Flower Fields. So that's what that is about. I think that is going to be the first thing that I tackle because that should hopefully be the easiest. Oh, and the last item on this list. This wasn't an observation by my sister, but this is something that I've been wanting to do, and that is to have some kind of tooltip menu for things like tower upgrade buttons and that sort of thing. That shouldn't be too bad. We'll get to that when we get to that. So first, adding a label to the pause menu that says what the name/number of the current level is. I think in the level select, right now, the name and level is just like hard-coded into the properties, the variable definition for the buttons in the room editor. Instead, I can say when you click on this. Actually, you know what? Hang on, I have a better idea, and that is to define the names of levels in an array, and just, like, draw that. Level 1, the campsite. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Woods, farm, canyon, flower fields, graveyard, beach, pirate cove, the butts, sorry, Jello, buttes, outskirts, city, castle. Ever since I was designing that level on the live stream, and Jellohammer walks into chat and reminds me that the track looks like a butt, and it belongs in a level called the Buttes. I have not been able to get that out of my mind. So thank you, Jellohammer. So those are the level names. Let's see. I will in the get text for the text label on the pause menu, instead of just drawing pause game, I will draw game.level names and then whatever the current level index is. Current level index. Okay, so that's literally the variable name. Let's see. Gameplay. Pause menu. Pause menu. I'm going to turn the rest of these off so that I don't have to look at them. The get text in this thing. This is going to be good. That's the one that I'm looking for. And we are going to return game.level names, game.current level index. And that should give us the name of the current level. See, if I were to start, we can pause the game, and we do not have that. Okay, these things do have a get text, don't they? They should. The Patreon name says a get text. How does that work? Huh. Oh, it's not a return, it's self.text equals that. Okay. It probably should be a return. I think I want to use a UI system similar to this in future games that I do, but I think I will make some modifications based on the things that don't work. So this is level 2, the woods. And that is an off by 1 error because level 0 is the title screen. These should be indexed from 1. Which shouldn't ever, under ordinary circumstances, appear, but... Alright, level 1, the campsite. If I were to go quit game to the title and go into, like, level 11, this is going to say the city. Okay. So that is... current level name showing on the title screen, and I'm going to check off this one. Add a pause button on the game UI, that should also be pretty easy. If I were to go to over here, hide all the title screen stuff. Did not mean to lock you, I said hide. Yeah, there we go. Hide all the title screen stuff, and the main game UI is going to be UI game, I think. No, that's the build. Game overlay. Okay. Can I get away with, like, shrinking these buttons and adding a new one? Can I, make that a little wider? And this is going to be, like, paused 1x, 2x, or something like that. Would that look weird? Right now, I think we just have 2 1x buttons, but I just want to see if the alignment is good. And if it is, I can invoke the... Okay, yeah. The alignment is good. I can, instead of doing this, on click, game dot... How do you pause the game? Search for VK escape. Okay, so we don't have a nice like clean pause game method here. I'm going to define one of those. Let's say after the settings business. I guess I'll also, while I'm here, self.unpause game. What's the code that actually runs, when you say resume? So if I were to go into the regular pause menu, what's the code that actually runs when you click on this? Okay, so it literally... Oh, wait, that's the quit button. This is the resume button. No, that's settings. Is resume at the top? Okay, so all it does is set gameplay mode back to gameplay. Okay. Would make sense, probably, to do a little bit of putting code like that into a function, but all right. It still says 1x. Can I either draw a sprite here or just like two lines? That doesn't really look like a pause, does it? Kinda does. Do these buttons have a, did I add code to these buttons that would let me, like, draw a sprite over them? No, just the button sprite itself. Okay. Well, I'll leave it. This can be a button for pausing. Button for pausing on the game UI. I can go to the bug board and cross this one off. Okay. Next, adding a control screen. This is going to be a little bit more involved, I think. Let's see. What I'm going to do to handle this is I'm going to... Let's hide the gameplay stuff UI. I'm going to go and probably create something similar to the credit screen. But instead of showing all this information, it's going to just have a big old text label with like how to play. So can I control D? No, I can't. Can I duplicate layers easily? I cannot control D on the layer itself. I can only click duplicate layer. Let's see, this is going to be title UI. How about how to play? How to player. How to play. And I can get rid of some of the buttons. I can give this a... that. And this is just going to be... Did not copy over your creation code, apparently. Build towers to stop the ever advancing wave of insects. Okay, so this is going to wait. Yeah, okay, so let me on the main title screen stuff, I will add another button, and that is for controls. Let's see. Which one is this? This is the start button. This is the settings button. I'll put it under the start button. And all this is going to do is, hang on, let me. Okay, so that just sets the current title screen value. This is going to be for how to play, and when you click on it, we are just going to set the title screen to UI how to play. It's going to be the name of that screen. And that should open up for us the how to play screen with like 2 lines in it. Okay. Alright, I don't have to break that up into multiple lines, but that is probably about as long as any individual line should be, unless I expand the text box horizontally. Alright, we can do that. Let's see, what are the controls? So, build towers by clicking the buttons. Try turning down some graphical options in the settings menu. I was trying to figure out how to word that without saying try turning down some graphical settings in the settings menu, because it sounds weird if you have the same word twice. But, okay. Hopefully this is adequate. Okay, so I'm going to want to shorten the first line a little bit and then make the text label a little bit taller. Pan around the map with WASD or I can say with the middle mouse button. That should be narrow enough, and from here. That should be enough space, right? I had a thought, and this might be a little bit... Okay, that's actually pretty good. Need some more exclamation marks, though. I had a thought that if the player... to require that the player look at this either by clicking on the button in the menu or by automatically showing it the first time they go into level 1 or whatever, that might be a little bit on the nose. I don't know if I want to be that on the nose, but let's see. If it proves to be a problem when other people playing by not being super clear on how to play, I will do that. But hopefully, these games should be pretty quick to get in and out of. So if it's not clear to a player when they go into level 1, hopefully it should be pretty clear to just back out to the title screen, look at this menu for a couple seconds, and then jump back in. Back does not work apparently. Why does this not work? Because I apparently did not copy and paste the creation code for this. Okay, back should work now. Okay, wonderful. Very nice. So we have ourselves a nice how to play screen, how to play. This is something else I can check off. Add a control screen. Tooltips for things like towers / upgrade buttons would be nice. This might be a little bit more involved because this is going to require that I write myself another system. I've been recording this for 36 minutes, which is short on the standards of the last 5 videos, but it's still running a little bit long. Let me deal with the save system first. So in the game struct, these are all settings. There's really no other persistent player data, is there? Besides the settings. The map is not player data. Okay, so let me just... this is only going to be a struct containing, one thing, but... after the game is initialized, this is the database. This is more database. Self.player save is going to equal a struct. And currently the only thing in it is current level. And that's going to be initialized to 0. Hang on. I don't want to call it current level because that is very similar to the variable that keeps track of which level we're in the game. How about player dot highest level? Okay, and then we can have some code for things like self dot save player data. It's going to be a function, and self dot load player data. It's going to be a function. This is just going to be plain text JSON. I'm not going to go out of my way to make it difficult for people to mess with their save data. I do not care if someone messes with their save data, as long as it doesn't affect other people in an online game or anything like that. So this is just going to be var save string. Actually, I don't even need to go that far, do I? Where is it? I could just var save buffer is going to be buffer create. Let's initialize the size to 1,000, although that's realistically bigger than it'll ever need to be. Let's make it a buffer grow just in case I do add more data later. Let's make the alignment 1 because this is text when we're finished. Buffer delete, save, buffer, and buffer save. Save, buffer. I'll make a macro called save file name in a minute. The only thing that we're actually going to write into the buffer is going to be buffer write, save, buffer. The type is going to be buffer underscore string. The value is going to be JSON stringify self.player underscore save. Okay. The save file name is going to be macro. Let's just call this like player dot. SAV is a common save file extension. A little dirty secret about files on computers is it doesn't actually matter what extension you give them. I might have mentioned this when I talked about vertex buffers. You could give this just .sav. You could make this .txt if you want it to be obvious that it's a plain text file. Maybe a JSON file if you want it to literally have the common JSON extension. You could not give it any file extension, which I think I'm not going to do because that might like you don't even need to have a file extension in computers. It's there as a helpful suggestion to the user and or operating system as to what the file does. But I think I'll go with .json. So we are going to, on save player data, we are going to just write this struct to a buffer. On load, we will undo that. And also, since this is likely not to fill the entire buffer, I can, instead of appending a bunch of empty zeros to the end, I can just write it from the offset of 0, and the size can be buffer get. Actually, it's buffer tell, not buffer get tell. And that will only save the actual used part of the buffer there. When we load the player data, we can attempt to do this in reverse. Var load buffer is going to equal buffer load. The file name is going to be save file name. When we're done, buffer delete, load buffer. We can say self.player save is going to equal JSON parse buffer read load buffer, and the type is going to be buffer string. I've said the word buffer so many times that it no longer sounds like a word. And if this does not work for any reason, we will raise an exception. We will go into the catch block, and then we can just reinitialize the player save. For example, if not is numeric self.player save, we'll use the struct accessor for this because we don't know if this member will exist if the user deleted it or not. Highest level. So if this is undefined, if this is like text or something, we can throw an exception. We don't really care what that exception is. We'll just reinitialize the player save like that. This could be tidied up a little bit, but I think that's beyond what I'm interested in doing. Let's see. When the game starts, let's just show debug message. No valid player save found, and that should cause a that should pop up in the console. Yeah, here we go. No valid player save found. Right after the error failed to open fire player.json for buffer load because that file does not yet exist, and the player's highest level has been saved there. Okay. Let's call this some basic save structure. And when you what happens when you win? Where is the... Okay, game over, win. When you do this... And there is nowhere else where this, Okay, yeah, there's nowhere else where this code runs. This is game over. That sounds like a bad thing, but in this case, it's just anytime the end condition of a game is reached, which has a 50-50 chance of being, like when you win versus when you lose or whatever. Self.player, player save highest level is going to be equal to self.current level index, right? And then I can say self.player save player data, save player data. Okay, let's attempt to beat one level. And then when that happens, the game should save correctly, should save automatically without crashing or anything like that. Let me just... bird nest towers are very nice. I like the bird nest towers. And here we have the crash. Okay. Again, I do not know. It seems to, I think, have something to do with flypaper. Or at least the slow effect. The line of code that it's triggering on is status immobilized minus equals DT. This is entity flow line 155. All right, change of plans. I'm going to try and track this down. What I thought it had to do. Line 155. It just says malformed variable, and it's not amazingly helpful as to what that, like, means. I could just try catch this section. Let's see. So, what malformed variable means is that there is something that is, like, not valid number data being used somewhere in here. And I do not know why that would be... why that would be triggering. Is this, like, initialized to anything? It should be initialized to 0, and then it is set to, what is duration? If duration equals undefined, immobilized duration is 1. Where is this called from? If this is called from... Oh, you know what? This is a struct. Okay. Wow. Okay. First, whodunit should be the tower that actually inflicted the immobilization. And second, since this code was written, we have the ability to set default function arguments. Is that also going to be true for some of these other things? It does not look like it. Alright, so for slow, I want whodunit to be the first argument, and the parameters for that to be the second argument. I may have found that bug. Okay. I did not see that, like, where it was coming from when I was poking around, and unfortunately my sister did not have any thoughts to what exactly happened when she managed to crash it either, but we'll see if it's fixed now. Let me try and rush a flypaper dispenser max level so that we have the immobilization effect. Okay, max level flypaper dispenser. We should be able to. Okay, that is a stun effect when they get piled up on one of those pieces of paper, and the game does not crash. Excellent. All right, let me just try to win the game. This should not take too long. I'm just gonna rush the rest of them. Let's see. I am noticing a slight issue, which is that it is possible for the flypaper things to spawn off the track, and that is not super useful to us. There are two things that I'm going to do to make that not a problem, and those two things If we go to the next level, the game doesn't crash, which is good, and if I were to run the game again, we should not see the no save file found message. I'm going to increase the radius at which they affect bugs, so that it hits things that are farther away. Okay, so that is save data. I can go into local app data and go into Bombardier, and we should indeed have ourselves a player.json. I can get rid of all this junk, can't I? That shouldn't appear anymore. Let's see. I'm going to... First, I'm going to commit the change that was fixing that bug. Alright, I'm glad I was able to track that down. That was, the error message isn't the most helpful, but I guess this is one of the things where, like, reading it out loud and explaining what the error message does makes it easier to see than when I was just, like, staring at my screen at 3 in the morning last week. The same concept as rubber duck debugging, and we can also commit save the player's highest level. Okay. Next, let me go into entity bullet, the flypaper. Hang on, wait, if I go into entity tower, is it even making an effort to spawn these things on the track? Because it looked like it was missing an awful lot. Here we are. Dispense. If collision is path, then we do indeed do it. Okay, so it must just be that its collision radius is rather low. So if I were to, if the point distance is less than radius, if I were to make this like 60 or something, that should make it a little bit more forgiving. And I also said that I would have these things time out after a duration, so let's make lifetime... I'll make it a little bit shorter than the lifetime for the bug spray clouds. Flypaper, lifetime. This was... Where is this used? This is just the end of the update. If lifetime is minus equals the game delta time. If lifetime is less than or equal to 0, then we just destroy ourselves. That should be, I think, update method should go here. Like this. So now if I were to run the game, and if I were to just, like, dispense flypaper on the track when nobody's around after... No, wait, because I need to actually add that to the constructor where this is called. The lifetime... What is the lifetime of the poison tower? Lifespan equals 3 if the level is greater than or equal to 2, 2 otherwise. Okay. I think I'm just going to make this 3, and it's not going to be upgradable, but that should otherwise solve that problem. Okay, let us go here, let us dispense some flypaper just generally on the track. And after 3 seconds it goes away. It's not doing it anymore. Why is it not doing it anymore? Okay, parent tower.paper count needs to be minus. I feel like that should be part of the destroy method, but the time for code architecture has come and gone. There's a chance, and I haven't ruled out this, but maybe someday far in the future I'll do like a season 2 of this series, and from there, flypaper dispenser, from there we can Yeah, okay. And is that gonna be close enough to the track for things to like walk over it? From there, maybe I'll do more work on this and add more levels and more features and that sort of thing. It does look like okay. Those are registering hits. Okay. Flypapers can time out. Not the towers themselves, but just the paper. Okay, that's another issue. Lastly, I feel like this is going to be more work than I really expected it to be. Tooltips for things like tower upgrade buttons. All right, first, if I go into the main room, this is what layer is this? Gameplay. Hide the title screen, please. Gameplay game. Oh, I need to show that one. I'm gonna make myself another layer, and this is going to be like UI tooltip tower. And this can be just a little bit of help text. Probably, I'm thinking... Where's the user interface stuff? UI text, I'm just gonna like stick that over here. Actually, wait. I do want to block the raycast. And I'm just gonna have a little bit of text appearing when you mouse over one of these buttons. And you're not actually going to be able to see the block raycast. Okay. This is going to be hidden by default, I think, but if you are mousing over one of these buttons, then it'll appear. Okay. Let me make myself another variable that says show tooltip. This can go like probably here. Gameplay things. There's going to be show tooltip for tower, and there's also going to be like show tooltip for... I might do a tooltip for the upcoming wave. I haven't decided yet. That might be a bit much. Let's see. In the beginning of update, we're going to reset that to false. And in the GUI method, if you are in gameplay mode, if this is true, then we will simply render that layer, UI tooltip tower. We will render that layer if this is true. In the, and I can't remember off the top of my head what this is called. This is just like creation code, on click, update. What's the other ones? There is an... Hang on. I know that like the game overlay, these things have an... Okay, so that's update. In that case, these things do not have an on hover method. I can give them one fairly easily. By default, it will be empty. If point in rectangle this, we're going to run the on hover code. If you actually click while the mouse is within your bounds, you're going to run the on click code. All right. This is the tower spawn. On hover is going to equal function. Game dot show tooltip tower is going to be true. And this should make that appear and disappear. Okay, great. It just says button name right now. That will show the tower info. Okay. And I'm gonna give the let's give this text label a name. So this can be inst tooltip tower. That way I can reference that through code. It's not really a tooltip because it doesn't actually appear on your mouse cursor, but I'm gonna call it that anyway. All right, so next is going to be, we're going to populate this with some useful information. So inst tooltip tower is going to, dot text is going to be set to equal to game.towerpebbles.name. And then we can show some information like its range and its fire rate and that sort of thing. All right. I'm thinking of doing something like in the game's database, writing in some descriptions for these towers. For example, we could give this another parameter that's like description. And that should be descriptions with an S because there are going to be multiple. Like that. Oh wait, that's faux data. I want that to be tower data. Like I said, considering doing this with faux when you hover over like the next wave icon or something, but not 100% on that. So this is going to be an array of 3. And this is going to we're going to have the level 1. What happens on upgrade? When you upgrade, your damage goes up. Again, I prefer using exclamation marks, and I do not know why. It's like, it makes the whole thing a little bit like less serious. And when you, level 3 shoots twice as fast. Okay. I'm seeing an error somewhere. Why is this erroring? Got a comma, expected, and a closed bracket. Really? That's an array. Oh, that closed bracket. Okay. That should be good. Okay, that's good. Now, tower pebbles dot descriptions index 0, and that should show us the level 0 description for this tower, level 1 or whatever. Okay, good. I would like an extra new line here, though. Alright, so if you'll give me a moment, I'm going to just cut out myself writing descriptions for the other towers. This feels like one of those not very interesting or important things that maybe nobody really wants to see me just typing out words. So I will see you in a minute in the name of saving time, and then we shall move on. Okay, so I've written my descriptions. Once again, this is rather not serious, sort of lighthearted writing, but we'll do it. So I've also updated the buttons in the game UI to all invoke, and I see the bird nest text is somewhat spilling out of the text box. I I've set all these buttons on hover methods to invoke the code to show the tooltips. Yes, several of these I think I'm going to actually need to shrink the line length of. What I'm also going to do is let me show the border here around that button, around that text label rather. I think it looks a little bit weird just to have a white square hovering there. Okay, so I'm really going to have to be a little bit picky with the lengths of these lines. This is in the code editor. This is column 57. Probably do not have any lines longer than character 60 here. And if there are, we'll just break it up into 2 lines. That one might need to be 3. Once this is working, I will get to work on making these appear when you want to upgrade the towers as well. Okay. Bird nest is still overflowing a little bit. Flypaper dispenser is still overflowing a little bit. Power is misspelled. Flypaper is overflowing. This may overflow as well. This will definitely overflow. That will have to be 3 lines. And power is misspelled. Okay, so that's good enough for the level 1 tooltips. Next, when you go to upgrade a tower, I'm going to, let's hide the game overlay, let us go into the tower select. When you upgrade a tower, I can also have an on hover. Let's see. If tower upgrade status, I'm going to want to have something that looks like this over here, because if you try to hover over this button, for example, when your tower can't be upgraded, you will have an array index out of bounds if you try to hover over a tower when you, Actually, that's the only thing that I can think of that would cause this to break. But if you're at the max level, if tower is not equal to undefined, and should tower be a local variable? Okay, tower should be this. Hang on. If tower is not equal to undefined, if upgrade status is not equal to reasons you can't upgrade max level, then we shall activate the tooltip, and we shall set its text to whatever our tower's base tower is, description, index, the next level. And if it sounds like I keep getting up from the computer, that's because my dog can't decide if she wants to go out or not. She needs to make up her mind. If you cannot upgrade a tower, if you can upgrade a tower rather, when you hover over this, let us go and implement some code similar to this on hover. Oh, these workspaces are a mess. One of the upcoming items on Game Maker's roadmap is like more efficient workspaces compared to what we have now. And while I don't think this is the end of the world, probably due in no small part to the fact that I rarely use things like the room editor to any great extent, it definitely, when you have more than like 3 things open, it starts to get in the way of itself, which is sometimes not desirable. So let's on hover. We need to show the tower tooltip. We need to turn that on, and we need to This is going to need to be entity towers, I think parent tower? Is it .class? .descriptions index are level +1 anyway. Actually, it'll be just descriptions.index R level because these levels are 1 indexed already. Okay. This is going to be tower.class.name plus tower.class.descriptions tower.level. And that should be everything I need. As long as this doesn't crash, I will quickly give myself a little infinite money hack so that I could preview. Okay. Was that the right one? Okay, so it does say Pebble Shooter damage increased, and then if I were to keep upgrading it, it says shoots twice as fast. Okay, that's fine. Okay, nothing's wrong. I'm just going insane. Definitely the preferable option there. So, tooltips appear when you mouse over the upgrade button. And now that I think about it, we might not actually need to do this check because it doesn't seem that the tooltip is that this on hover code is appearing if the button is grayed out at all, but never mind. Let's see. I said I would give myself infinite money real quick just so that I can like upgrade all the towers and make sure the text is aligned properly. Player money is going to be, let's make this like add another 0. Actually, let's add 2 zeros, 7,500. And then I'm just going to, hopefully before the game actually sends anything out, I will just preview everything. I've already previewed the Pebble Shooter towers. Shoots fire faster, burn effect lasts longer, that's fine. Bird nest. Birds do more damage, summon a 4th bird, that's fine. Bug spray. Clouds last longer and affect more foes, sprays much faster, that's fine. Flypaper dispenser. If I recall, these were a little bit long. Duration and magnitude of slow increased. Flypaper momentarily immobilizes anything that walks over it, that's fine. Magnifying glass. Does yet more damage and burns foes for good measure. That's a little bit long. I'll cut off the second line at the and probably see from there. Did I? All right, increase the first one was fine. So it's only that one line that needs to be edited. Where are these defined? Magnifying glass. Let's cut that line down to size, and I think good measure should be on a 3rd line as well. Okay, that's good. We can reset your starting gold, and we can actually, I won't make that a commit. Let me just undo that last one and recommit this as 1. Okay, that is, I think, everything I wanted to do here. Oh no, wait, I still want to lock off, and I can move this to the closed. I still wanted to lock off the levels in the level select if you have not yet beaten the previous level. So that's just a matter of player save. If player saved at highest level is hang on, in the room editor, in the hide the gameplay stuff, in the title screen, level select. If game.player saved.highest level is less than 2, self.enabled is false. I can simplify this by saying self.enabled is going to be equal to game.player level is greater than or equal to 2. Let's see. And that crashed. Oh wait, that should be an equals. And it apparently, camera create view has a function index of whatever was in there by default. Okay. Should this be greater than or equal? Yeah, that should be greater than or equal to 1, because if you've beaten level 1, then level 2 should be available. What are you doing, dog? You're just... No, get away from that. Excuse me. I have a couple of old computers behind me, and they're, like, running backups. And my dog is getting dangerously near to them, and bad things would happen if she were to, like, step on pretty much anything back there, and I would really prefer it if she didn't. Anyway, Woods is available. If I were to implement this, or at least copy this into level 3, for example, the level 3 button or the level 4 button, if this works, I will run through this again just to make sure that levels are unlocked as intended. Level 3 and level 4 are grayed out. Okay, it looks like this is working. If I were to let me try and defeat level 2 real quick. Okay, so I have defeated level 2. If I go to the next level and then return to the title screen, I should be able to have level 4 unlocked. Okay, let's see. That is going to be... I'm just going to copy and paste this code to the rest of these buttons. And again, that is probably something you do not need to watch me do. Okay, all of these buttons now have the unlock code except for the first one. And when you... I don't know. I could add something so that when you defeat level 12, the game will say, "Yay, you beat the game," or whatever. But I don't think I'll go that far. So, I believe this is it for code. You must defeat previous levels before moving on to the next one. All right, I think that's it for code. I'm going to end things off here. My name is Michael. I like wizards and dragons and making games. The fact that this, like, save asterisk does not go away sometimes when you hit Control S is very, very irritating. If you want the code for this, look for the GitHub repository down in the video description. This is going to be... I'm going to make this 1.0 because I said that when I completed the code, I would make that the 1.0, and this is... I'm not touching the code after this. Actually, next week is going to involve the program metadata, so yeah, I guess I will. 6.1 already exists. This is week 6.2. Next week is going to be the 1.0. That will feature the actual executables. So, let me push this to GitHub. This is going to be week 62. Let me create myself a nice release. This will be 0.62. This is the last pre-release. Make a program icon. That ought to be fun. I hope you all enjoyed that, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to Edward Holt, Emily Koyo, Gunnar Clovis, Posha, Sindra Larson, Squarecrow, Tusk, and Zenjamin for supporting these videos. If you want to see your name in the credits or hear yourself shouted out at the end like this, head on over to the Patreon page down in the video description to join the fun.